Hey guys, buckle up for a new episode of You and the Law Podcast, the one and only law enforcement podcast that's tackling critical policing and social justice issues and provides insights into the daily realities of policing with your host, Chief Virgil Green.
Imagine your son went missing. Imagine your son was found a few days later hanging from a light pole. Imagine the sheriffs that was investigating your son's death was arrested on corruption by the FBI. Well, this is my reality. This is our reality. James moved to Mississippi in May of 2023. He wasn't even there a week before he was found. He's no longer here to talk for himself. So we're here to talk for him. We're here to fight for him. We want justice. We demand justice. So before you keep scrolling, say his name, James Cooper.
Most importantly, justice for James.
Justice for James.
Justice for James.
I want to welcome everybody to another episode of You and the Law Podcast. I'm the host of the show, Chief Virgil Green. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time to tune in and join You and the Law Podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking with the family of James Cooper, Miss Nadine Galmore and her daughter, about the tragic incident that took place back in 2023. And for those who have not heard about James K. Cooper, we're going to be giving out a website for you to go to and find out more about what happened and what the family has been trying to do for the last 3 years is continue to raise the awareness of what happened with James and the fact that James didn't just take his own life. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring on Mrs. Nadine. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for taking the time to come on You and the Law Podcast to talk about the tragic incident that took place with your son, a little over 3 years ago in 2023. And so one of the things that, I want to talk with you about is let everybody know who was James before all this here happened.
James was the baby of the family on his dad's side and the mom's side, my side. He's the youngest of 15. James was spoiled. James was funny, goofy, loyal, loving. He really wasn't a bad child. I think I probably had one incident out of him. That was it.
And you say you had out of 15?
Out of 15. Yeah. Well,
Man, that's coming from a big family.
Well, 15 on his dad's side.
Oh, okay.
And I got 4. So 15 on his dad's side and then me with 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, 5, including him 5.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So are you all originally from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Born and raised. Mm-hmm.
So, just like, he went to school, graduated high school. What was his career goal? What was his aspirations to do once he got out of high school?
He wanted to do a lot. First, it was a boxer. He wanted to be a carpenter. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was working with his dad. Then I heard, he wanted to be a pilot. He was going to go to school to be a pilot. That was his last goal. He wanted to be a pilot.
Okay. All right. So how does he end up in Metcalfe, Mississippi? He had a girlfriend. And so I want to kind of put some content into, he was in Milwaukee. he ended up, was the girlfriend living in Milwaukee before going back to Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so James had no kids.
No, he has two,
Oh, he does? Oh,
a boy
okay.
and a girl. Mm-hmm.
Oh, does he? Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Are they by the girlfriend or somebody else?
Nope. Two other females.
Okay. Okay. All right then. So he meets this young lady, and at what point does he decide that he's going to uh, go to Mississippi?
Um, she told him that she only had a month left to live because she had holes in her heart or whatever. Um, so he wanted to go down there and be with her.
Okay. Was was there any medical evidence that anything like that was that she was suffering from?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So so James had he ever been down to Mississippi before this year?
Just with her, just to see her.
Okay.
Other than that, no.
No. So he didn't know. I mean, once again, he wouldn't have known anybody. Didn't have any friends other than
Mm-mm.
just the
Yeah,
girlfriend and her family.
we don't have any family or friends down there. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So in the early parts of May of 2023, he decides that he's going to go down to Mississippi and stay with this girlfriend.
Hmm.
Okay. So when was the last time that you and your family had any communication with him? Um, uh, and I think they reported that he went missing on May the 8th. When was the last time that you all had any kind of communication with him?
For me, I spoke with him on the 5th. We FaceTime. He told me, he showed me the backyard basically. As far as, with her kids, how the kids got a big backyard and space for them to play.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, maybe it's a good move. Yeah.
Little did you know that days
Yeah.
later that you would be getting a phone call.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so her family reports him just walking away from the home, what, May the 8th or May the 9th?
Hmm.
Okay. And so 2 days later, they say that they discovered his body in this wooded area, not too far from the apartment complex where he was found deceased.
Right.
And so how did you kind of take us back? How did you get that phone call and who did you get the phone call from?
The girlfriend called
The girlfriend. Okay.
and told me she was crying, saying James hung himself with a book back cord. So I couldn't, at the so I hung up. I hung up on her because I'm like, no, So then the mom called back. But before the girlfriend called back, I had called my daughter, get over here. They say James, you know, is no longer here.
Okay.
And then the mom called saying the same thing. And I'm like, what? So I couldn't even think straight at that moment.
Yeah.
I couldn't even think straight.
Okay. Okay. So, one of the things that, and I've looked at information that I've got from Bree and Kima, and one of the things that I'm concerned about, and one of the things we'll talk about throughout the podcast is the investigators, the sheriff department is called, coroner comes out, they quickly rule that that this appears to be a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
In the images that I've seen, that you all have seen, he was not hanging from this pole, and it was not a tree. It was some type of a utility pole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And so, when did you all become suspicious of what was going on, and did any family members from go down to Mississippi after this has happened? After this has happened?
For me, it was right away because I
Okay.
knew my son. I'm not like, no, he couldn't have, what I'm saying, done this. Like, for me, it was right away. And then his dad, before they released the body, his dad went down there.
Okay.
Because they were saying that he had to be cremated in order to get back.
Okay. So I want to. So you're notified that he's
Go.
deceased,
Hmm.
and his father goes down. Now, doing this, was there a period of time where there was an investigation going on where you were receiving calls from the Washington County Sheriff's Office at all? Any
No,
investigators ever call you all?
no, we was calling them. We was calling and calling, and it got to the point that one of the detectives told me that I was harassing him. I had to stop calling him.
So wait a second. So this detective is going to tell you as a family member that your son is deceased, that you're calling him too much.
Hmm.
Did you all ever speak to the sheriff? Because the sheriff, now some years later has been indicted on some federal charges. Back then, that wasn't the case. But back then, did you all ever speak to anybody other than a detective?
We talked to the sheriffs as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And his attitude was the same way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So for
Gaston.
Sheriff Gaston.
Yeah, so we talked to.
Yeah,
Gaston, yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
one who was holding the camera. But yeah.
Mm.
So, for those who are just now tuning in and who, don't really know a lot about Metcalfe, Mississippi, it's a little small town of about a little over 800 people outside of Greenville, Mississippi, not too far from Jackson. But it is an area that has had a lot of corruption over the last couple of years. And one of the things is that even though there's been corruption in that area, when a crime has been committed, that sheriff department should investigate it the way that they would investigate any other kind of crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it appears from the beginning that you and your family was not getting any kind of answers as to what really happened with James. So there is a video that a lady has put out that actually, and I want to say maybe she was with the coroner,
Mm-hmm. She was
and
the
she
corner at the time.
at the corner at the time. So she goes back and she films which I believe she's contradicting what the investigators alleged that happened with James.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes, and then the sheriff was holding the camera.
So she mentioned something about a deputy.
Yeah, well, he was holding the camera.
Okay. Had you all ever spoke to this lady before?
Who, the coroner?
Yes.
I talked to her several times, and she told me she was gonna help me. She was gonna stay on it because she don't believe it happened. And then it's like it just stopped.
Okay.
She just stopped talking.
Okay. So what about the family? Did James move down there with a lot of his personal belongings?
As long as James had his game, he was fine. But
Okay.
he took what he could.
Okay.
Some clothes, he took what he could.
Okay. So after this here happened, what kind of communication did you have with the girlfriend and her family? You're
Nothing.
shaking your head pretty limited at
Nothing.
all. Okay. Okay. So his body is transported to Jackson, and his body is left, from what I have been told, left in a body bag for an extended period of time. Is that correct?
It was Washington County.
Washington County. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. From what I know, yes, he was left, there in that body bag.
Okay. Um, did anybody from the coroner's, or not the coroner's office, but the medical examiner's office, which is in Jackson, did they ever contact you to speak with you about any investigation that they were conducting?
No, I never heard from them. Just the coroner.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so at what point, so I know there's a video that's out there that shows James' dad uh, down there, and I guess he had to identify his son's body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at what point did the state say that his body had decomposed to the point to where he needed to be cremated?
That day, that day, that I can't remember the day that his dad went down there, but that day that his dad was down there, that's when he said that it's best that he need to be cremated because he was deteriorating from the inside out.
Okay.
What about the call a few days prior?
Huh?
The call a few days prior from the people that had who had his body, the morgue, was at the funeral.
That's the funeral home.
Yeah, because they called a few days prior.
It said,
That's when we were asking him, can he go see the body? Because we were just trying to confirm for ourselves. Because he was basically saying that he think it'd be best to cremate him because his body was deteriorating, and my mom just wanted to have somebody that we knew, like, to visually get eyes on him.
Okay.
And his dad just kind of agreed. I was telling my mom, like, we should just figure out. I personally felt like if money was the only option, then we should try to figure out and wait a minute, because it didn't sound right to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
It just seemed like he was kind of pushy about it, and it didn't sound right.
yeah, because I had an aunt. She was a sheriff. She was telling me that she seen worse. You know what I'm saying? She was like, even the coroner was like, his body wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the way they left him, he was deteriorating.
Yeah. So I want to kind of go back to the crime scene, because I think that's really important to go back to, because and I want to say this, and I think one of the things, you all are going off of information that they're providing to you. You last spoke to him on May the 5th. Her family is saying that he walked away from the apartment May the 8th. You don't really know if that actually happened, other than what they're telling you.
Right.
And so 2 days later, the family is the one who discovered the body in this field. And when you look at the photos of that area, you would have to get out of a vehicle and actually walk into that field to see a body.
Right.
And so one of the things that stood out to me when I was, the information that have been provided, was the fact that he was not hanging from this pole. He was actually sitting down.
Mhm.
And so in the cable that was wrapped around his neck is like a telephone cable, or cable that either a cable for television cable, or some type of a heavy cable. Not just something that you can just wrap around you. But you mentioned something that they had said that he had hung himself by the cord of a backpack,
Yeah, his book bag.
his book
Yep.
bag.
Yep.
Okay.
The straps.
Okay. And
Mhm.
so again, I think the one of the things there there wasn't anything that would lead James to want to take his own life. I mean, he hadn't even been there 2 weeks, and so why would somebody who had just moved to this area just decide to walk away and take his own life? What is you all what's your thoughts as to what really happened? I know it's speculation, but what's
It's
your
like
all
for
what's your
me.
all's thoughts of what happened?
I don't. For me, I just want to know who, what, why. Um, I don't know. Somebody had
Yeah,
to do. Somebody did something, and then for his hands to be the way it was, somebody had to do something. He couldn't have did it.
yeah. So when you mentioned the way his hands were, what kind of describe, if you don't mind, how was his hands? Because I've seen photos. Was his hands kind of bound or tied or
Zip, like zip ties.
okay, okay. So I've been in law enforcement for over 30 years. I've been a police chief for 26 of those years. I've seen all type of crimes, seen suicide, homicides, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was, photos can really tell a story of what happened if you're not really there. And so, based on some of the photos and everything, you have to really question how the investigation took place. Uh, did this sheriff's department conduct a thorough investigation? Why did they just automatically rule his death as being a suicide? I mean, did they? We don't know if they went back to the apartment. Did they interview people? Uh, Metcalfe is not a large town, and for them to say that he walked away, I want to believe something I read was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Where was he at from that period until May the 10th? Because it's not a very large town, and
He don't know
nobody knew.
nobody.
Yeah, he didn't know nobody, and nobody knew him. So where was he at for those 48 hours to 72 hours? I mean, you just can't. I mean, there's a post office there. There's a little convenience store there.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of places for a person to really go. Um, and when you look at where the location that he was found and the location of where the apartment complex is at, is very close. It's not far from. I mean, it's walking distance. It's not
Mhm.
so. Again, it just raises a lot of questions as to why would they not investigate this as a homicide, and why were they so quick to rule it as a suicide?
Right. Because they were saying like there wasn't even like mosquito bites on his body or anything. The coroner said like she didn't even feel like he was out there for that full 2 days because how hot it was. His body wasn't burned. It was a lot of stuff that wasn't making sense. So you're right. Where was he for those 2 days?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and one of the things that the lady says in this video, and who was the coroner at the time, was that she mentioned something about it had been raining, the weather had been pretty hot, and we're talking in May, uh, where in Mississippi in May it's pretty hot, and
Okay.
so uh, I think for his body to have been sitting out in that field for an extended period of time would have showed some of the signs of being there for at least 2 or 3, 2 days or so. Um, what do you all know about? And I don't want to get into speculation, but what do you all know anything about Brittany's family? Did James have a good relationship with the family?
I don't know them.
We don't know the family at all. We barely knew Brittany. Like we've seen her, we've been around her, but there was really like no conversations to where we would get to know her on a personal level. And it's not that we were necessarily against it. She was in her own world whenever we were around. She never wanted to interact. She always had
Okay.
an attitude. And then as far as James and the family that I know of, he did not know them. But the mom, when she got down and she started making phone calls to us and we were like kind of in communication, she was just saying how much she actually liked him and stuff. Like I don't think she knew him at all, to
Okay,
be
okay,
honest.
okay. So I want to kind of go back to you communicated with him through some type of a tablet. Um, that tablet, was it found with him or was it found somewhere else
With him.
with him? So it's to my understanding that you all have had some difficulty retrieving that that tablet over the
Hmm.
last couple of years.
Hmm.
And what's your daughter's name?
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Jasmine. I think I listened to one of the videos that you all have put out that I believe you all were told that in the beginning, yeah, the investigation is over with. Once it's over with, you all can get the tablet, and then once the investigation was over with, now you're being told that you have to have a subpoena or something to retrieve that evidence that belongs to you to James.
And we even had a subpoena because I had a lawyer in the beginning, but they still wouldn't release it.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Like if the investigation is closed, these are his personal items. So what's the problem with giving his personal items back? I don't.
Well, so you had an attorney, and what was the purpose of that the attorney that you had hired? Did he ever go down to Mississippi, or what was his role in the beginning when you had retained an attorney?
He was from Mississippi.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the goal was he was supposed to get his personal stuff back, the police reports we needed.
And they said either my mom or his dad had to go pick it up. They said nobody else could pick it up. And then it even got to the point where, like, if I would call, they would say, well, we can't give information to you. You're just his sister. You have to have the mom call. But then, like she said, when she called, he said that she's harassing her and that he was going to try to file a report against her for harassing him. So it was always a runaround. It was always something different.
So, what was the attorney? Was the attorney involved at that time when this detective is telling you all that you're calling him too much and you're harassing him?
What did he say?
Was
Was
the
the
attorney
attorney was
involved?
the attorney involved at the time?
No,
He was.
No.
That
no,
was before him.
this was before him.
Okay.
This was in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, when the attorney gets involved, how did you all contact this attorney? Was he somebody that was referred to you all, or
Somebody referred him to me.
okay, okay? And what happened with him?
One day he just emailed me and said he can't be my attorney anymore.
Uh, was there a retainer that you all had? The family had paid him to represent you all.
Mhm.
Did he return that retainer, or what did he? I mean, it's unusual for an attorney just to send an email saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I can no longer represent you all." I mean,
Yeah, he did. What we paid him, he sent it back.
no, okay, okay, okay. Did he ever elaborate as to why?
No,
Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
I feel like with him, after a while, we started getting a runaround too. Like he would say, well, I'm busy with this other case and you guys only paid this amount of money. They paid me this, so I'm working on this case first. And it's like, okay, well, you're the one that gave us the price. We paid you what you asked. So if you wanted something more, then say that. But
yeah,
we just paid what you asked. And now you're trying to make it about a money situation when we're trying to follow up. We had deadlines to get the subpoenas and everything out. So us asking to follow up like, hey, where you at with this? Because the deadline is coming up. I don't feel like that should have been a problem.
yeah. So the one thing, and I'm sure you all know this. I mean, a police report that is public information. You don't need a subpoena to get a police report.
that's what they
I,
told us we have to have.
and I think that's one of the things that really aggravates me as being in this profession is that you've got people who look like you and I because, for those who are not familiar with Metcalfe, Mississippi, in that part of Greenville, they're black. Predominantly of the sheriff department is black. And to treat somebody, and I'm not saying just because you're black, you need to be treated a certain way. Every race should be treated the same way. But when you have people who look like you and I, and they're giving you the runaround, it makes you wonder as to why, what's behind it. And, it's not a very large county. I mean, like I said, Metcalfe is 800 people. Greenville is a little larger. Washington County is not this big, large county to where they just got a whole lot of crime going on. So, to me, the insensitive part was to tell you as a grieving mother and your family, hey, you're harassing me. I just can't understand any detective. And I have to say that I actually have heard stories like that coming from down in Mississippi. I was a police chief in Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, and it's right there on the border of Mississippi, not too far from Clarksdale. So it just seems like the culture of law enforcement in that area is not very cooperative. And you all are grieving, trying to find answers as to what happened with your son, but you're not getting anywhere.
All right.
So it just, again, is that report is a public document. A news reporter can go in, or from the newspaper can go in and say, I'm requesting this here. They can do, fill out the proper paperwork to get a copy of the report. That's not something that would take a subpoena to get. And I think, again, that leads to more questions as to how much involved is the sheriff's office in this here. Is there a cover-up? And why is there a cover-up? Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of get back to the medical part of this here, because that's concerning as well, is because his body is at the medical examiner's office in Jackson, and they don't properly take care of his body. And I think as a family, you want to know that your loved one is being properly taken care of. At what point did you, Nadine, find out that his body was in a position to where you could not bring him back to Milwaukee?
Well, first, it was a minute before, maybe 5 to 7 days before I even located his body.
What do you say when you say 5 to 7 days?
About like that.
Okay.
About like that, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Because my cousin that lives in, she figured it out and gave me the number to the coroner. And then when I spoke to the coroner, she was like, I've been looking for you. No one would give me your number. She said, not even the police station, nobody would give her my number.
And
this is coming from somebody at the medical examiner's office?
No, the coroner. The coroner said that because she had his body first.
Okay.
Yes, so,
they're in Metcalfe.
Yeah. And like by this point, we were in contact with the sheriffs already. We were in contact with Brittany, Tasha, and we were talking to everybody already. So nobody talked to the coroner to give her the number. Everybody kind of refused. It was like, well, we don't know it. How do you not know it? And we're calling each other every day to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just really kind of lost in words. The fact that, you're speaking to people and your information is not being passed on to people in Jackson at the state medical examiner's office, where his body was taken from Washington County and was transported to Jackson. And it's my understanding that his body was not put in a typical refrigerated area for a proper autopsy, that his body was exposed to the elements that he was in a bag for up to 8 days. And then all of a sudden they did just a visual view of his body, and it really didn't determine the cause of death, other than, hey, they said it was he took his own life. But there again, there had to been some evidence that I do know that they took, they drew his blood, and they basically said there was some THC that was found in his system or whatever. But at the same time, why not try to determine the cause of death and not just go off of what the sheriff department said it, but it appears that the coroner disagreed with this, that he took his own life.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ms. Gilmore, I want to remind those just now tuning into the podcast that it's been put in the group, in the chat, that if you want to know more about James K. Cooper, go to jameskcooper.com. That's jameskcooper.com, and click on the link and find out more about James K. Cooper. Nadine, one of the things is that, Mississippi has not been, it's been in the news a lot lately over the past couple of years for law enforcement and medical examiners to rush to a judgment that somebody took their own life. Back in 2025, a college student at Delta State University was found hanging from a tree. He was a freshman. They ruled his death a suicide. And why would somebody who on the first day of school take their own life? And same question is, why would James, who had only been in this community less than 2 weeks, walk away and take his own life? There should have been a much more thorough investigation into what happened with him. And like you said, you all are not trying to point any fingers at anybody. You're just trying to find out some facts as to what happened to your son. And nobody should have to go, over 3 years to determine the cause, what actually happened to your loved one. And the fact that you got a sheriff's office that is not cooperating with you, it appears that they don't want to provide you any kind of information. So am I correct where now they're saying that they will release this tablet to you, but you have to go down to Greenville and pick it up?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any guarantee that once you get there that will happen?
No. But his dad said he's going to go down there next month, the middle of next month, to go grab it.
Okay. How long ago was it that they had shared with you all that they would now release it to you?
Like 2 months ago, maybe? Because I called down there
Couple
to
months.
ask. Because I called down there, and that's what they said.
Okay.
They said I have to come and get it.
You
But
would have to come and get it.
I'm gonna send the dad.
Okay. So one of the questions so you all communicated with him on this here tablet. And this is a question that I asked for Bree and Kima, was did he have a carrier that the service that he went through, like with T-Mobile or AT&T, who was the service provider for that tablet?
I don't remember because it was in his dad's name. So actually, it's his dad's tablet. So.
Oh, okay.
So she said she think it was U.S. Cellular.
Okay. So do you all know if his dad tried to reach out to whatever cell phone provider that was to obtain some information related to the usage of the tablet? That type of technology is a lot of information on it, as you all know. I mean, and so, it's going to tell you what tower it's pinging off of, when it was used. And if you're the account holder, you're going to be able to get that information very quickly. So, Um, one of the things that I'm curious to see is that once you all get this tablet, has that tablet been cleaned or wiped, or there
Right.
should be a lot of information on there with him communicating with you all and communicating with others.
Right.
Basically, he was using it through Facebook, Messenger and stuff like that. That's how we mainly communicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was near Wi-Fi or something.
Okay. So, do you know at the time that this here happened? I think I just lost your camera.
Yeah. What the
Okay. All right. We're good. So, uh, during the time that this here happened, um, was it under? Was he just using Wi-Fi, or was he using? Or do you all know if he was using, like, it could have been U.S. Cellular or whatever
He
cell
was
phone
using
provider it
Wi-Fi.
was?
He was using the Wi-Fi.
Using Wi-Fi. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Um, so for those who are just now tuning in to You and the Law podcast, tonight I've got on Nadine Galmore, and that is, I'm saying it right, Nadine Galmore.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And we're talking about the death of her son, James Cooper, uh, that took place in May of 2023. And some 6 years later, the family is still trying to find out what actually happened to their son, because they don't believe that he took his own life. And I have to say, the information that has been provided to me, uh, I've looked at that, and there's definitely a lot of questions as to how the investigation took place. And one of the things I will say, Nadine, is that there should never be a rush to judge or to come up with a finding of what caused the death of someone, especially an unattended death. And nobody saw him take his own life, but clearly, the information that I have seen leads you to believe that he did not take his own life.
Right.
Right. Did you want us to try to go
Yeah,
out and come back in? Okay.
yeah. If you guys want to log off and come back in and get your camera, that'll be great.
Okay.
Uh, and so, but if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat, and we will get to those comments throughout the podcast. But again, Mississippi, there's been just a pattern of unattended deaths in Mississippi that have been ruled suicides, and I think it's really for families to it. Those of us in law enforcement really owe the families to have a thorough investigation, to where the families actually know what happens and the community knows what happens. Because if there is somebody out there uh, who had anything to do with James's death, they need to be held accountable, or any other person uh, who law enforcement is saying uh, took their own life. So let me bring. All right, all right.
Why?
Let me see. Let me get you guys back over here. Okay. Well, it's still showing that you guys are on the other screen. So,
I
but
don't know.
yeah. But so, what would you all like to share about how this investigation has played out, and some of the concerns that you all have had over the last 3 years?
For me, they just failed me. They didn't do anything. I mean, it's just I've been fighting for 3 years now. Um, it's it's horrible.
Well, and I think one of the things that no family should have to go through anything like this here. The simple fact that you've got a law enforcement agency that is telling you that you're harassing them, you're bugging them, and that um, you just pretty much need to stop calling and just accept what happened. I think that is real hard to do when you know that your son did not take his own life. He had no reason to take his own life.
Right.
So since this has happened, and what has the ex-girlfriend uh, have the have you all had any kind of communication with her or anybody in Metcalfe?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
think probably like this was a while ago. When she reached out to you and said, hopefully like the kids can be in your life one day.
The day after,
Eh,
she texted me and was like, "Well, hopefully, um, the kids can be in your life one day.
And I just
They're
really
not
feel
even
like she was
kids,
trying to be funny. Like I was so offended by that because what do you mean?
So what kids was she referring to? Her
Her
kids?
our
kids.
kids."
Her kids, but they were not James' kids.
They're not James' kids. Like, why would we want you and your kids in our life and you can't even help figure out what
Right?
happened?
Because my thing is, if I have somebody that I'm close to, and something happened to them, I'm gonna want to try to find out what happened.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Especially if I don't have anything to do with it, I'm gonna be like, "No, this ain't right. Let's figure this out."
yeah,
Yeah.
But to say nothing,
yeah. Well, one of the things that sticks out to me, and the fact that her family, they're the ones that found James,
Mhm.
and supposedly there was some type of a black bag that they noticed from the roadway that made them stop and go and walk up on the bag, and supposedly uh, a child or someone said, "Oh, look, there's James up there." Is that correct
mhm,
or not?
mhm,
That's what Brittany said.
Okay.
mhm,
Her mom had a different version of the story, of course. She said she was driving, they saw the bag, and they got out to walk to see if he was back there, and that's when they found him. Um, According to her, like he wasn't up high at all, but Brittany said that he was up hanging on the light pole. So I don't know. Both stories sound like a lie to me anyways.
but if he was right there, so close, and you was looking for him for those
You would have
days,
found him
why you
days
didn't see
ago.
him?
Yeah.
Especially like with the search team, if his bag was there for 2 days, y'all would have seen his bag 2 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I think I've been told that James had some kind of communication with a pastor uh,
Mhm,
down there.
mhm.
Have you all ever spoke to this pastor at all?
Nope.
When it first happened,
When it first happened, like I said, that day, I spoke to him.
And what was that conversation like? And you're speaking with somebody for the first time. You don't know them. They don't know you. What again, he's a pastor at a local church there. What was your feeling once you
oh,
spoke
and
to
then our
him?
case researchers also spoke to him as well. But what was your question? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just asking you all when you all spoke to him that day. What was that conversation like?
James was found deceased.
And he had only met James a couple of times. I mean,
Mhm,
okay, okay. Um, so it's again, you've got a lot of questions as to where was James at for 2 days. That road that where his body was found, it seems like it's a fairly well traveled road.
mhm.
Um, and the fact that if you're really out truly looking for somebody who you said walked away from an apartment, uh, you would have found him. And again, why would he just want to walk away and take his own life? I mean, you know, there something happened at that apartment. And the fact that he ended up in this field with this cable wrapped around his neck. And again, the cable that I've seen is not something that you can just take and wrap around your neck and tie it around your neck. It's multiple people would have had to have done that.
Yeah. So like multiple people reached out and said they took the same road that day and saw nothing there. And then even a bus driver said she drove a bus route that morning, and she's like her or none of the kids on the bus saw anything. They would have saw back there. The bus sits up high enough to see back
Yeah.
there. Saw nothing.
Yeah. So do you all know if the investigators ever talked to this bus driver or anybody else?
The investigators talked to, well, the case researchers, they talked to a lot of people. They've reached out to everyone.
Probably talking about the
Oh.
sheriffs now.
Yeah, the sheriff's department. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the case. Okay, the sheriff's department, no, they didn't follow up with any leads or anything. They didn't call anybody. Nobody.
Well, I know the case researchers, they probably have done more looking
Yes.
into
Yes.
this investigation than the sheriff department has. And one of the things that I've shared with them, just like I've shared with you, is that I continue to hear, well, you have to have a subpoena to get this information.
Yeah.
The family does not have to have a subpoena to get anything from the state of Mississippi, even from the medical examiner's office. There's a form that any family would need to fill out to obtain information. But just to tell the family you need a subpoena to get this here, I think, once again, some people need to be held accountable for how this investigation took place. Will it bring James back? No. But there are people out there who knows what happened. But it appears that this sheriff department has done a very poor job. And, people will say, well, how can you criticize another law enforcement agency when you're in law enforcement yourself? You just have to stand on principles. And once again, you all as a family deserve better answers than what you all have received over the last 3 years. And the fact that nobody has reached out to you all to offer any kind of condolences or anything is very concerning. So, I know the case researchers have done a lot and have assisted you all a lot. What are some of the things that you want those who are watching this podcast now and who will listen to it? What do you want them to know about what you all have been struggling with over the last 3 years of just trying to find out some basic information as to what really happened with your son, James?
We've been struggling with everything, getting his tablet back, getting information, getting the records, just
Getting a lawyer.
getting a lawyer.
Afraid to speak up.
Yeah, that's not afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Just I want them to go back and talk to the people, the witnesses. I mean, do something.
Yeah. So have you all did you ever receive like a death certificate from the state of Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you didn't have to get a subpoena for that, right?
No.
Yeah. So that's why I said you don't need a subpoena. And I'm pretty sure you all know this, but it's just very concerning the fact that you've got state agencies and law enforcement agencies saying, oh, you have to have a subpoena or you need to come here to get this information. Again, you're trying to find out actually what happened. And by all accounts, when you look at everything, you can clearly see that James didn't just walk away from this apartment complex by himself. I mean, and I don't know if you all have seen photos of where this apartment complex is at, but it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not surrounded by a lot of other apartments, and so again, it just leads one to believe what was going on May the 8th or May the 9th that made him walk away, or what was going on May the 10th, uh, for him to walk away, and for her family of all people to find his body. Is very concerning. Prior to you all didn't get any kind of phone calls to tell you all, hey, James, we don't know where James is at. He just walked away.
My a stepdaughter of mine from Texas called me, and then one from California called me and said, "Hey, Mom, they said James is missing." So of course I got worried, because as a matter of fact, I talked to him on the 7th. It wasn't the 5th; it was the 7th.
Okay.
That's when he told me about the pastor, the job and ID and everything. But yeah, they called me and told me that James was missing.
Where did they?
Not even them, not the
Not
family.
Brittany's family.
Yeah,
So how did they find out that he was missing?
I guess because he didn't come back to the house.
No, I mean you said some other relatives of
Oh,
yours.
they called them instead of me. They
Okay.
called my stepdaughters. They called them.
Why wouldn't they call you? You're his mother.
Right. Don't know.
So do you know how would they know to call your stepdaughters? How, that I've never heard that, so I'm just kind of curious. How would they know to reach out to
They know that
Yes, I guess kind of the same way my brother knows them, they know the sisters know them as
my
well.
stepdaughters
Yeah,
know them.
James' sisters know them as well.
Okay.
We don't know.
We don't.
Okay. Okay.
Have a clue.
Okay. So again, I know you all found that very odd, just like why would you not call you to say, James?
Especially when they knew how to contact her.
Yeah.
They just didn't.
Yeah. But to call somebody else to say, hey, James is missing. When did that happen? Do you know if it was, because you said the last time you spoke to him was on the 7th. When did they contact the stepdaughters to tell them that, hey, we don't know where James is at?
It had to be the 9th, right?
I believe they found out the 9th, like that night, because my mom got off work.
On the 8th.
Tell her when you got off work from the 9th. So she works late at night. So
Okay.
early on the 10th is when mom got the call. She said it was probably about 2 in the morning or something. She got the call. So we didn't even know until the day that they found him that he was missing. That's when we were going over in the library. We had to go back and look at the date. She got off because she had an event that day at work, and she got off work, and that's when she got the call. So
Okay.
then she called me, and I was half asleep. I'm like, Ma, he's fine. He's a boy. He'll come home. So when I woke up, that wasn't the case at all.
Okay.
It was, she said, no, they found him dead. Come to my house now. So I just kind of hurried up and left the house. What's wrong?
No, I'm trying to look.
Yeah.
So the last time you spoke to him was May the 7th.
Yeah.
Other family members get a phone call May the 8th or 9th to say that he's missing. Now, James had never just went missing before this.
Never.
So
like even when he's upset and he like walks off, take a walk, James always comes right back.
yeah, I mean,
Exactly. He blow off
everybody,
steam, come
yeah,
right back like nothing happened.
yeah, and so again, to say that he walked away and a day later or 2 days later, the family is the one who found his body. Again, for me, the main question would be, why were you looking in that area in the first place? Secondly, that's not an area. You wouldn't just go to that area just to say, hey, let me look over here. I mean, again, it's a pretty rural area. It's not too far from the apartments that they stayed in or that they lived at.
All right.
And so again, it's just, to me, those are questions that the sheriff department really needs to be able to answer and to interview people. Now you're all saying that, hey, there's a bus driver that is saying that she came down that road and didn't see anything. And there again,
Thank you.
So there's just a lot of questions that needs to be answered.
And even Brittany, like before they even found him, she was telling people that James called my mom and said that he was about to kill himself, and he was about to go by the water, in the woods by the water. So when they actually found him in the woods by water, how did you know that 2 days prior? He never spoke to my mom and said anything like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
So I think there was something that was shared with me that Brittany had a conversation with you, Nadine, and that conversation never took place.
No, never. We don't talk. She don't call me. We don't. So she never called me that day.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it's my understanding that there's some conflicting information whether she was in Metcalfe or she was in Memphis when this here happened.
She said she was in Memphis.
Okay.
But if you were in Memphis, how did you call me?
Yeah. One of the things that my whole hope tonight is that a lot more people are aware about what happened in 2023, and maybe there's somebody out there who knows somebody, some local officials there. And one of the things that I've shared with those who are helping you behind the scenes is that I think some other people need to be contacted regarding this here. It's been 3 years, and the fact that the sheriff department it doesn't seem like they're willing to reopen this investigation, and that there definitely needs to be an independent investigation as to what happened, and talk to everybody that's involved, from the pastor to the bus driver to the lady who was to the coroner, because again, I kind of go back to what I said at the beginning of the podcast, is that her video is very conflicting with what actually took place, and she has firsthand knowledge of what she saw. So Nadine, what would you all like for the listeners to know? Because there's a lot of people that are on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. How can they reach out to you, and what can they do to help you all? Because I know there's a petition, and I want to ask you, is this petition to try to get the federal government involved, or what is the whole purpose behind this petition?
Yes, to get outside help outside, like that. What was it? I can't think.
You're talking about the FBI? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, and again, I'm just speaking from my lens, being in law enforcement, to the fact that there is definitely something that is not right with this here investigation. And you all need some closure. And I think, 3 years has passed and you all still have no closure. And even though it's not going to bring James back, but people need to be held accountable for what happened back in May of 2023. So again, for those who want to reach out to Nadine Galmore and her family, they have a website set up. It is, if you guys want to give that information out, please go right ahead.
Oh, the website is jameskcooper.com. It tells pretty much more about his story, and then you can sign the petition for the investigation through that link as well.
Okay. All right. Well, Nadine and Jasmine, I definitely appreciate you all coming on You and the Law podcast tonight to talk about the tragic incident that took place with James back in 2023. And, whatever I can do to help assist or provide information, again, it needs to happen because there are people out there who know more and really need to come forward and talk and tell what actually happened to James. So is there anything else you guys would like to add before we end tonight's podcast?
No. Once you go to the website, we have a GoFundMe set up.
Okay.
So they could donate to the GoFundMe to help with getting a lawyer.
A better lawyer, Lord.
Okay.
Sorry.
So one thing that I do want to show, and I have this video pulled up, and I want to advise those that this video is of the coroner. She was the coroner at the time, but she's no longer the coroner, because I want to give those who have not seen any of your videos a much more visual as to how this area, what this area looked like. So I want to show this video of the former coroner who went back to the crime scene and took this recording, and she stated that she was there with the deputy. And so, again, I want to show this here, and once I show it, we'll come back and talk about it.
Ms. Hale, this is Metcalfe Johnson along with Deputy Dorsey, and we just came to the location, so we tried to get a clearance of what it is that we actually saw when we got here. Now, the spot that I'm standing in right now is where a duffel bag was sitting in which law enforcement, along with whoever they received the information from, stated that was his. Now, we're going to turn this camera around to show where if you're actually driving, it's puzzling to me as to how you would be able to notice a bag belonging to an individual that supposedly came up missing. Now, as I travel down to the location that we came in, and now you on the tip, it was cloudy and began to rain as well. And then showered before we could actually get him to the location. It just poured down. So I'm hoping this will kind of clarify some things, although I have not at this point seen the result. I just seen, the autopsy result itself, but I have seen what they gave the cause of death as being. This tree, they calling it he's supposed to be hung from, actually a telegram pole. And this body is just sitting right here, sitting, not hanging. And this is the cord right here that was cut. And how could he, in my mind, I'm just saying in my mind, have gotten up to anywhere? There's nothing remotely in the area like a ladder or a step stool or nothing for me to indicate that this wire was able to go around his neck from this location. And again, how did he get it there? And if this helps any, if this helps you any, but I will be calling you as soon as I can. But I just thought it just was placed on my heart to come here to kind of give you all a visual of the location that he was in and opposed to where the young lady's mother lived at, and from what the information that was given to me of where he was actually living at, and they said he was missing on the 8th. But I can assure you the weather's kind of hot here today, but not as hot as it was on the 8th and the 9th of last month. And I hope this helps you some, you know, just throughout your thought process, and certainly from my office, we're going to continue to keep you all in prayer.
So Nadine, I think it was really important to show that, because it gives some perspective as to the location of where James's body was found, and the fact that you've got the coroner, who she was the coroner at the time. Now it sounds like a month later, she goes back and she is giving her personal opinion about what she saw and what happened. And I think that's real important, because did the sheriff department investigate her? And you know, how much influence did she have, or she didn't have, with telling the sheriff department that no, that this was not a suicide, and that instead of waiting to fully investigate everything, waiting to talk to a lot of people, then make a cause of death. But really, the medical examiner is the one who should have made the ruling on that based on the investigation from the sheriff's department. So there's two parts of that: what the sheriff department investigated, and what the scientific evidence showed as to what happened to the body.
All right.
So again, hopefully that really helps those who are watching on Facebook and those who are watching on YouTube to give some type of perspective as to where his body was found at, how close it was to the roadway. Because again, this telephone pole that he was found under, you can't see that from the roadway. You have to physically get out and physically walk back into that field, that wooded area.
Oh.
So again, Nadine, I really appreciate you and your daughter for coming on You and the Law podcast, talking about this. And this is something that, you know, we will continue to talk about and continue to see how we can help get this where there is an independent investigation into it, to where other people are being investigated, and more answers will be able to be provided to you and to your family.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Again, I want to remind everybody that if you want to know more about James Cooper, go to the website that has been put up. It's jamescooper.com, or is it James K. Cooper?
Yes.
Yeah, jameskcooper.com, and find out more how you can help the family. They have a GoFundMe page there. There's another chat that just come up in the chat. Let me see what it is. Just a chat saying that, you know, they're standing with the family of James Cooper. So you definitely have a lot of support out there, Mrs. Galmore and your daughter, that a lot of people now they know about it, and hopefully more people will continue to find out more about what happened with James Cooper. So, all right. And thank you all. And again, thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's podcast. And make sure that you continue to follow You and the Law podcast on our Facebook page or YouTube, and subscribe. And if you miss any parts of this live podcast tonight, you can go back and check it out on YouTube and our Facebook page. But again, Ms. Galmore, thank you and your daughter, and everybody have a good night. And we will see you next week right here on You and the Law podcast.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a wrap on this episode of You and the Law podcast. We've got more eye-opening conversations and hard-hitting insights coming your way. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and stay ready because the next episode might just change the way you see law enforcement forever.